Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to Wicked Wednesday, where we discuss all the new comics that's coming out this week. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. My YouTube channel just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. In honor of that, I did a free giveaway, which is a near mint raw copy of All New Ghost Rider #1, the first appearance of Robbie Reyes. And now it's time to announce our winner. Drums, please. And the winner is a subscriber named Waterdoll. Congratulations on winning this. To claim your prize, please send me an email at comicpower2016@gmail.com. Thank you to everyone who participated in the giveaway. The answer to the trivia question was pretty easy. It was Johnny Blaze. The winner was picked randomly. I may do prizes and giveaways again in the future when I hit future milestones. I want to say thank you to everyone who's subscribing and viewing and helping make Comic Power the #1 comic book news channel on YouTube. I'm not there yet, but we're getting there. But for now, it's New Comic Day, and DC Comics is giving us a ton of Batman. Have we reached that tipping point where we're sick of Batman? He's the greatest comic book character of all time, but DC is really pushing it. What do you think? Speak up in the comment section. First up is Bane Conquest, #7 of a 12-part miniseries. I think DC is trying to do with Bane what Marvel is doing with Venom, having a villain who can be a standalone character in his own universe and not just be the villain of the week. Of Batman's villains who've been created in the last 25 years, Bane has been the most relentless. Next up is Batman's main title with issue #34. The cover and interior are drawn by Joelle Jones. Women don't get a chance to draw Batman that much. Becky Cloonan was the first woman to draw Batman back in 2011. We're talking about for Batman's main title. Joelle Jones got famous as the co-creator and writer and artist on Lady Killer for Dark Horse Comics. She does some amazing work. Becky and Joelle both made my list of the top 10 female artists in comic books. Next up is Batman Devastator #1. This is a one-shot that comes out of the Dark Knight's Metal series. There's a whole bunch of crazy looking monsters that are coming out of the Dark Multiverse, and this is just another one of those. Marvel's got their Venomverse, DC's got their Dark Multiverse. However you slice it, it's good news if you're a horror fan. Next up is Batman White Knight, issue #2 of an 8-part miniseries. This is basically a continuity where the Joker becomes a hero and Batman is a villain. In that the citizens of Gotham are sick of Batman, they think he's gone too far, the Joker is allegedly cured, and people put their faith in him. That's probably not a good idea. Next up is Harley and Ivy Meet Betty and Veronica #2. This is a hilarious crossover with Archie Comics and DC comic characters. The premise is that Harley and Ivy team up to try to kidnap Betty and Veronica. And of course, hilarity ensues. Issue #1 of this was the pick of the week for October 4th, and it had this awesome Adam Hughes variant cover. The print run appears to be very huge on this, so you should be able to find this for $5 or less. It wasn't a ratio variant, so if you're a Hughes variant completist, you can get this for cheap and you don't have to overpay for it. As for issue #2, the main cover is drawn by Emanuela Lupacchino and it looks fantastic. This is issue 2 of a 6-part miniseries, by the way. Okay, that's all for the Batman universe. Let's get to some other titles, shall we? Including Black Lightning Cold Dead Hands, issue #1 of a 6-part miniseries. As you may already know, Black Lightning is getting its own live action TV show on the CW pretty soon. I was extremely critical of this action because DC has had this character for 40 years. They've done virtually nothing with him, and now he's getting his own show, which seems to be an answer to Luke Cage. I hope the show is good, but I don't expect it to be. Hopefully they'll prove me wrong. But the character is not very well known. He's in his 40s, and he's making his debut on a television station that appeals to 20-somethings. So I really don't see how this fits, but I don't know, we'll see. Unlike Black Lightning, DC does have a black superhero that they are developing, and that's going to be Cyborg, and issue #18 is coming out. This is an underrated title. It would make Isaac Asimov proud. As a terrific piece of science fiction, the Cyborg character is going to appear in live action in the Justice League movie that's going to drop November 17th. And hey, I'll be there on opening night, just hoping and praying that Josh Whedon has fixed whatever Zack Snyder has messed up. Next up is the Jetsons #1. This is based on the cartoon that was famous back in the 1960s. It's the same characters you know, but with a redesign, and Jane has also been updated. His wife, she's now a NASA scientist. George Jetson is described in this title as an analog man living in a digital world. In an additional twist, his mother-in-law's consciousness has been downloaded into Rosie the robot. I like what they're doing here. This is going to be the runner-up pick of the week. Next up is Superman number 34. This is part 2 of the Empress Rex storyline. And Superman has to team up with Lex Luthor again to bring peace to Apokolips. But a new warrior enters the battlefield, and it's Lois Lane. That's a pretty interesting twist, don't you think? Next up is the speculation pick of the week. And that's going to be Dead Man, issue number 1 of a 6-part miniseries. And cover A has a glow-in-the-dark cover by Neal Adams. When I first heard about that, I said, say no more, I'm already sold. But I'll talk anyway. Neal Adams' breakout stuff was in the 1960s with Dead Man. This is what made him a star. If you're a casual fan, then Dead Man is only familiar to you as a member of Justice League Dark. A lot of people don't know about his backstory and origin. The character was first introduced in Strange Adventures number 205 back in 1967. Dead Man is basically a ghost who can possess the body of any living thing. When he was alive, he was a trapeze artist, but he was murdered during a routine. And after his murder, his powers were bestowed upon him by a Hindu god. Neal Adams took over as the regular penciler for this character in issue 207. That's a very much swiped cover. You've seen it a lot. When Neal hit the scene in the late 1960s, comics still looked very cartoony. He was really the first realistic artist. In comic books, that is, in terms of anatomy and stuff like that, it looks very realistic. And almost 50 years later, it still holds up very well. Neal is the godfather of other realistic comic book artists like George Perez and John Byrne, who worship at the feet of Neal Adams. He's a real icon. So it's a real pleasure that he's still around, he's still with us, and he's still doing good work. And he's on the con circuit as well, so he does shows here and there, so get a chance to meet a real icon. He's definitely one of them. In this Dead Man continuity, expect for Zatanna, the Phantom Stranger, Dr. Fate, the Spectra, and others to show up, including Batman, of course. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to read this. All I gotta say is, thank you, sir. Can I have another? That was it for DC. Probably a little bit too much Batman, but a strong week overall. Now let's see what Marvel is up to. And that's going to be Black Bolt number 7. I was wrong by overlooking this. This was a fantastic title that everyone should be reading. In this continuity, Black Bolt has just escaped from space prison. And they're bringing back characters you haven't seen in a while, like the Absorbing Man. If you missed the earlier issues, you probably need to go back and get a trade paperback to catch up on what's going on. Next up is Captain America issue 695. Obviously, they went back to the original lettering for a legacy. After the events in Secret Empire, Captain America has a lot of work to do to repair his reputation. There's going to be a ton of variants for this, but the best one is going to be the Adi Granov variant. No one draws Captain America the way that Granov draws Captain America. That's how the character is supposed to be depicted. Next up is Spider-Gwen issue number 24, which is going to a second print. This is the setup where they're going to bring in Gwenom, so that makes sense why this is going to a second print. I'm sick of the mashups Marvel is doing, but if people like them, go ahead and get them. Everyone's got their own opinion, and I can't tell you how to spend your money. Next up is Power Pack number 63. Once again, they're continuing the numbering, but they should have started this back at number 1 because a lot of people have no idea who the Power Pack is. They were first introduced in 1984 as a group of preteen heroes, and they used Franklin Richards as a springboard to get people into this book. I don't expect for him to show up in this continuity because the rights to Franklin Richards are going to be owned by Fox Studios, and if Marvel wants to develop these characters for live action in the future, they don't want to have their hands tied with a character they can't use. This looks like all ages fun though, so I would recommend it. Next up is Darth Vader, Volume 2, issue number 7. If you don't buy this, Lord Vader will find your lack of faith disturbing and choke the shit out of you. Next up is Old Man Logan, issue number 30. This is the end of the storyline where he takes on the Maestro with help from Hawkeye. The Maestro is a version of the Hulk that maintains Bruce Banner's intelligence. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is The Willows, issue number 1 from Alternative Comics. This promises extra-dimensional weirdness as 2 women experience some phenomenon in the Hungarian wilderness back in 1907. This book is a one-shot and will be a good read for those who like sci-fi horror. Next up is Red Sonja, number 10 from Dynamite Entertainment. I really love the covers on Red Sonja and the direction on how they're going about it. This one is drawn by Amy Reeder, who's most famous for Rocket Girl. There's also going to be a continuation of the cosplay variants. In this continuity, Red Sonja is snatched from her homeland and brought into our modern day world. So it's a fish out of water story. Next up is Robotech number 4 from Titan Comics. And this is some of the first Japanimation some kids like myself who grew up in the 1980s ever saw. There was an animated show with this. So I'm glad to see it come back to comics again, and it looks outstanding. There's an SDCC variant that's also being made available that's drawn by Rachel Scott, and I am definitely a fan of that. I will be getting one of these. Next up is Spiritus, number 2 of a 5-part miniseries from Vault Comics. This is the same publisher that put out Heathen to critical and commercial acclaim. They're doing sci-fi that looks like it should be in Heavy Metal magazine, but it's in comics. It's very good stuff. Next up, let's see what Image is up to. They always bring the pain, including Crosswind issue number 5. This is the story of a Seattle housewife that trades bodies with a mobster. So think of it as Freaky Friday meets Goodfellas. It's been optioned for a movie, so someone's paying attention. Next up is Extremity, issue number 8. This has been a favorite of mine this year. It's the story of a female artist who gets her hand cut off when her tribe goes into war with another civilization. She becomes the tribe's fiercest warrior after that happens. The writer, artist, and creator of this universe is Daniel Warren Johnson, who was discovered by Image executive on Artist Alley at a random con. So you too, artists, can get discovered and get put on. Just keep working on your craft and put it out. Next up is Gravediggers Union number 1. This is from Wes Craig, who's the co-creator of Deadly Class. In this storyline, the apocalypse is coming and only the Gravediggers Union can stop it. This series is promising wild comedic horror, including steroid zombies, monster gods, swamp vampires, ghost storms, and space monkeys? Sure, why not? Next up is number 1 with a bullet, number 1. This takes place in a not so distant future where contact lenses can play video and augment reality, but it also can record. And our hero in this comic has a sex tape that goes viral. I like the premise, but I'm not too crazy about the art, so I think I'll pass on this one. But I always like to try to mention Image number 1s because you never know what's going to become a hit. Next up is Paper Girls number 17, and is written by Brian K. Vaughan. It's sort of like War of the Worlds meets Stand By Me. It's won Eisner's for writing, art, and coloring. But once again, get a trade paperback to get the first couple of issues so you can find out what's going on. If you pick it up now, you're just going to be confused. Next up is The Walking Dead issue 173. I always tell you to pick up The Walking Dead because you never know what storyline or new characters they're going to use for the TV show, and it always makes those values on these back issues go up in the future. But it's not all about speculation. It's still a very good read. Robert Kirkman is not phoning it in. It's still a fantastic horror tale. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about Comic Power. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for New Comic Day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.